Hi, welcome to Mama Mandala, where magic is somatic. I'm Hagar. Welcome to the summer solstice. We've made it here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a moment and a time, a phase where the light is at its peak. The longest day of the year is the summer solstice, when the night is the shortest. We have this immersion in light, which gives us this force of life, this energy, this power. The creative power of sunlight is at its peak. We are reaching a peak moment that invites us to immerse ourselves in everything that has to do with light, with seeing, with creating, with coming to fruition. This is a time of year that's associated with abundance of food and nourishment and a celebration of life itself in all its different forms. But what if you're not feeling it at all? What if whatever's happening in the world right now is really getting to you? What if your personal life right now is at the peak of darkness? What if you're feeling down and tired and exhausted by everything that's going on in the world and how it affects you and everything that's going on in your life and how things are going, and you're not feeling this light thing at all? What if all this light talk makes you want to vomit? What if you're realizing that the way that humanity has treated darkness and how it's associated it with the demonic is actually white supremacist racist bullshit, and you're angry for good reasons? What if? But what if the times in our lives when we're feeling really low and really heavy and really disconnected from the energy that makes us go and the things that invite us into our own strength, because the sun is strength, right? This holiday, this moment, this celebration is associated with the strength at the core of our being. So what if the times when you're feeling the least amount of confidence, when you're feeling really insecure and really down, and you feel like everything you've built has collapsed, or nothing has really taken form, or you just don't know anymore where to draw strength and confidence from because your life has shown you that there's all the reasons in the world not to feel strong and courageous and confident? What if those times are actually opportunities and doorways to cultivate our deepest strength? Because here's the thing, here's what we can play with. First of all, when it's summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, it's winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So we have this opportunity to lean into, it's dark o'clock somewhere else, and we can lean into this soft embrace of the blanket of darkness, even if everything around us and everything in the world around us is light talking us. There is an opportunity and an invitation to remember that in the wholeness of the earth and in the wholeness of us, there is both shadow and light. There is both darkness and illumination. There is everything that's in between. There's all the gray points. There's all the details. There's all the layers. And you can lean into it and situate yourself in this space that holds the entirety. And if you're feeling like, yeah, summer solstice is really not talking to you right now and just annoyed with it, actually, even a little bit or a lot of it, you can remind yourself that actually the summer solstice is when the light reaches its peak. But you know what happens, right? Then the very moment of peak, sorry, my accent, is the beginning of breaking down, of falling, of descent, of moving in the opposite direction. So when the light reaches the highest point, the northest point in the sky, it also marks the shift back toward the darkness, back toward a softness, back towards an internal space. So you can talk to the parts of you right now that are triggered and annoyed and feeling like the light stuff is really obnoxious for you right now, and invite yourself into the remembrance of something much more well-rounded and integrated. It's an opportunity to integrate the darkness and the light and weave together a vast and profound tapestry of richness and complexity. And the other things that we can do when we're feeling uninspired by the season, because I wanted to make this video for us because I think that I love living with the season. That's my life's work. That's my internal work. That's kind of how I function, is with the seasons and with the phases of the moon. This is what gives me inspiration and gives me strength and gives me ways to do the work that I need to do on myself. That's how I orient myself. And if I feel sometimes like I'm in the opposite side or in a completely different it feels misaligned place in my life from what the season is doing, I remind myself that the season's work, the season's metaphors, are in invitations, the season's archetypal energy. Metaphor, I don't mean it as something that is just an artistic, poetic way of describing something, but really how it speaks to you. We all need, we're human beings, so we need an artistic, poetic way to understand ourselves and where we are. We've been doing this for a very long time, human beings, speaking in metaphors, understanding ourselves through metaphors. This is not just a written word time in humanity. It's from before that. And so this gives me an invitation and an opportunity to sit with, to be with where I am, the honesty and the authenticity of where you are, of where we are societally, where we are individually, and weave and layer and map ourselves onto what the season is and what the phase of the moon is, and where are we on the wheel of the year, as the Celtics call it, where we are in the spinning of the earth, what is happening in the natural world and what is happening inside of us. And when it doesn't match, that's okay, right? Like I find it to be a very deep invitation to actually create texture in our lives, in our being. Oh, it's summer is beginning, and I'm feeling dark as fuck, and I want to cry all day, and I'm really depressed, and maybe you're going, whatever it is that you're going through. How do I layer and map and orient where I am and what the natural world is doing, so that the dissonance starts to create relationality? If you think about it as an artistic process, this is contrast. Contrast creates texture, right? The layering of our being. So it can be so deep. Now there are so many archetypes. There's so many deities, characters that you can work with for the summer solstice. This is when I'm releasing this, so I'm gonna bring that as an example. But really take what I'm invoking here, this invitation to layer yourself with the natural world, whether you're aligned with its rhythm or not. There's still that possibility. Take that to whenever in your life you're finding that you're not quite there. But since we're in the summer solstice, there's a lot of different deities. I'm thinking of Ra from the Egyptian tradition. I'm thinking of Surya and Savitur from the Hindu tradition, and even Lakshmi, who is the goddess of abundance, right? Because the world is in this great abundance in nature, in the time of the summer solstice and around this time. So take it back to Egypt and you have Hathor. So you can weave it from different tradition, and the celebration of summer solstice is very much known as a European Celtic, pre-Christian Celtic celebration. So you can go and explore Celtic characters that are associated with sunlight and with warmth and with the abundance of the land. This is the time of year when in the Celtic tradition, the Oak King is said to reach its peak of power. It's my accent again. And the peak of power of the oak tree is, there's this beautiful story from the Celtic tradition of how the oak tree and the holly tree are in they're in this eternal battle with one another, and when the summer solstice hits, the oak tree wins. So the courage and the doorway into magic, because in Celtic tradition the oak tree is the doorway into other realms, into the other world. So the doorway to magic is wide open in the summer solstice, because the oak tree has won the battle over the holly. But then things shift, right when the peak of the oak's power is here, the shift starts to happen. From now until the winter solstice, his power, their power, its power is going to wane until the winter solstice, when the power of the oak, the power of courage and the doorway to magic and this great abundance and strength and deep roots and kind of powerful presence, it's going to wane all the way till it kind of reaches this lowest point of almost dissolution and then reinvigorate itself. See how we're also reminded of our cyclicality here. And so if you want to work with different archetypes and you actually want to bring it into your body and make the magic somatic, I have the Summer Solstice Somatic Ceremony open right now. If you want to play with some of these archetypes, and then this is a rich collection of embodied ritual. I highly recommend it. It's deep, it's profound. You can work with it through the whole summer, or at least through the whole first phase of the summer. It really is great until the middle of summer to work with these archetypes, because that's the other thing. The energy of any moment on the wheel of the year is a phase. We tend to think about it, oh, it's that day. The day of the summer solstice is when I'm going to work on it. That's great when we do, but it's not the only time. You can take yourself on a journey from the summer solstice all the way to the middle of summer and work with these archetypes and do these rituals and do the practices and repeat them and work with the prompts. There's a lot of prompts that I send with these, with this ceremony, because I call it a ceremony, but really it's a collection of rituals. There's a deep mythopoetic immersion and kind of like a giving yourself the opportunity to be saturated with the archetypes, with an archetypal alchemy. And then there's the practices. There's 5 somatic journeys through the archetypes with mantra and mudra. And this is a transformative practice that takes you deeply into your strength and your confidence, and into the invitation to work with these energies even when you're feeling quite the opposite. So if you're feeling really powerful right now, it's great because it allows you to take that power into an embodied place that you can then stoke the fire and sustain the energy and really build yourself upon it. And if you're feeling really low and really down and really kind of lacking in vitality, this is great because it's going to help you. First and foremost, this is the most important thing: be with yourself where you are, and take that. Even if you're not taking the ceremony, I don't care. Take this, receive it if it speaks to you. Be with yourself where you are, no matter what. And I think that the summer solstice is a beautiful symbolic invitation into that. Because we can see the oak tree as this invitation, right? The doorway. And the doorway is first and foremost not to the other world, but into where we are, because that's our access to everywhere else we want to go. So walk through the portal into yourself, into where you actually are. And it's also really powerful because it's the time when, because the light is bright and the sun is shining really strongly, this is time in the Hindu tradition. There's a word in Sanskrit, darshan, and darshan means seeing. So it's this time of seeing, and you can let yourself see the world around you, see yourself through the light that's shining, see yourself with great honesty, see what there is to see, and let yourself be seen. So one of the great powers of that concept of darshan is that it's not only an invitation to see, but it's usually refers to going to see a deity in a temple. But you're not just seeing a deity in the temple. I love this practice so much from my time in India with my beloved, dear philosophy mythology teacher, Douglas Brooks. Oh, so rich. This is so many years ago already. Wow, it's way over a decade. Way over a decade. My goodness, it's 15 years. Shit. It's a really long time. So it's this invitation to not only go see a deity in the temple, but it's this invitation to see all the people that stand in line on the way. And not only are you seeing them, they're seeing you, and there's interaction. And the deep invitation is to let yourself be seen by the deity in the temple. And if you're like me, and the literal idea of being seen by a statue feels really disconnected from your culture and from where you are and from who you are and from your non-believing system, which is where I am. So if you're like me, welcome. And if you're not like me, welcome. The invitation really, my dog is barking, Gracie, shh. The invitation is to let yourself be seen by all the different energies that the deity represents, that the deity stands for, that the energy of this presence, what it says to you, what it speaks to you. Let yourself be seen by it as you see it. And this interaction, again, creates texture, creates flavor, generates more color, an expansion of understanding ourselves and one another. Okay, so the somatic ceremony for summer solstice is an invitation into deep darshan with all these different parts of yourself. So with as many parts of yourself as you can see. There's always going to be shadowy stuff that we don't see. That's part of it. So we breathe into it and we make room for it. But in order to work on ourselves at a time when we feel quite the opposite of what the energy of the season is, we can allow ourselves to have darshan with the exact particular quality, energy, deity, archetype that we feel the deepest need for. You can go sit by an oak tree. That just make me want to breathe deep and exhale. That's my nervous system regulating, right? With the even thought of the oak. That was a deep moment for me. It's amazing how just even thinking about certain things can make you feel that way. You can have tea of St. John's wort herb and invite yourself into this vitality, into this conversation, into this process of meditating with an herb that has a particular kind of energy, a particular vibe that is very much summery and filled with life. And when you meditate with it, you connect to it and to the part of you that is like it. And you can ask it, you can ask them, you can ask the plant, you can ask whatever you want to ask to support you in the process of cultivating more of it. Tap into this part of you. So the somatic ceremony is a deep invitation to do that, but you can do that without it. You just do it on your own if you want to, if you have your ways, fantastic. It's amazing to create your own ritual. You can, I'll leave a link for you in the description of the video for the somatic ceremony for the summer solstice, which is great if you want to work on this. But I'll also leave a free guide, a link to download a free guide to creating your own rituals so that you can work with that and help support yourself in the process of creating your own ritual. That's totally acceptable and available for you as well. If you prefer that, no problem. But in any case and in any way, there was one more thing I wanted to kind of bring up, that the idea of the summer solstice and this peak of the sun as the time of great nourishment and abundance comes from Europe, comes from areas that were colder, that really needed this the summer in order to have food. But if you think of other cultures that lived and live in the desert, like the ancient Egyptians, the time of summer solstice is this, like, the sun is at its peak and it's burning. So it's a dangerous time. And it's right before the flooding of the Nile, which is going to bring more life. So it aligns with the nourishment of the European vision of the summer solstice. But there's also another aspect. See how there's always layers. There's always ways to look at it in different ways. So if you're feeling more like, man, I'm being scorched right now by life, this is more of like it's the heat and the warmth are feeling more like a burning, then there you go. Then you have the ancient Egyptian that supports that experience with deities that are more fierce and ferocious, and you can wake that up if you need to also, and we'll get a little bit more into that in the middle of summer. This actually, the summer solstice is called midsummer because in ancient Celtic traditions, summer was from where we think of as spring equinox all the way to autumn equinox. But that's a conversation for a different time. But I just wanted you to have the context for that. This summer solstice is called midsummer because summer used to be the half of the year where the light was stronger. And so it's the middle of summer when we really get into the scorching sun energy, the cat and lion deities from the Egyptian culture. But you can bring yourself into conversation with the fierceness right now if that helps you work with where you are. My doggie came downstairs, you may hear her steps. This is an opportunity to work with where you are and work with the energies and the deities of this time in ways that support you. And it can be really, really helpful to ask ourselves, well, how can that support me where I am right now? And how can I, through this conversation with what supports me, support something more than me, my community, my family, my friends, maybe something in society if we want to go even further. So I hope this is inspiring for you. I hope this is interesting. I'll leave a link for you for an essay also that I wrote about the summer solstice that might be interesting for you to dive into. I'll leave a link for the free ritual guide so that you can create your own ritual. And of course, after all this talk about the summer solstice, the somatic ceremony for the summer solstice, I will leave a link for you for this beautiful collection of ritual and this deep mythopoetic immersion and transmission that is going to be beautifully supportive for this time, no matter what your experience is and what you're going through. So thank you so, so much for being here with me. I am just so grateful to be with you and to have this time together. If you like this video, put a like on the video. It's actually really important because it is going to help other people find it. So I'm very grateful for that. If you liked it, also share it with your people. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. That helps other people find it. It really supports my work. So if you benefited from it, please subscribe. And I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so, so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon. All right. Happy, or not happy, meaningful, that's a better word. Have a meaningful summer solstice. Thank you. Namaste.